Hi there, once again, I'm Patrick and welcome to our midweek highlight show from the stadium. Now this week we'll be featuring Moto GP, football of course, the Ryder Cup and the Malaysian Open Tennis Championships. But we start with the 19th Commonwealth Games in New Delhi. After continuous reports of delays, hiccups, walkouts and various other concerns, India persevered through all the bad press, dusted themselves and even pulled up their socks as the 19th Commonwealth Games got underway on Sunday. It wasn't spectacular, but it was impressive as any Bollywood movie production. There were songs, dances, drums and that humongous helium blimp. But now is where the athletes take the stage. The Malaysian contingent has been asked to deliver at least 10 gold medals. Our best showing was when we hosted the Games back in 1998, while in 2002 in Manchester and 2006 in Melbourne could be deemed as consistent. This time, gold medals are expected from badminton, squash, lawn bowls, cycling, weightlifting, which they already have delivered one gold medal on day one through Amirul Hamizan Ibrahim, and there's also hope for a gold medal from diving through Pandilela Renong, buoyed by her 2 silvers at the Youth Olympics in Singapore recently. We wish our contingent all the best, and don't forget guys, only drink water from properly secured bottles. You saw Slumdog Millionaire, didn't you? Right, moving on to more posh surroundings, the 2010 Ryder Cup in Celtic Manor, Wales. They too put on a fantastic opening ceremony, though with a little less colour and a lot less rhythm, but very regal as you can expect from the British. To the fairways and the greens, and it was the United States all the way until the penultimate day, when the pairing of Steve Stricker and Tiger Woods had an awful round, and this pulled Europe back to take the lead. And on the rain-delayed final day, Graham McDowell held his nerve in the final stages of the match as Europe clung on to their overnight lead to beat the United States 14.5 to 13.5 and regained the Ryder Cup. Time for a roundup of the top European leagues as we begin a look at the English Premier League. Winning is easy for Chelsea. That's what Arsenal manager Arsene Wenger said before their London derby at Stamford Bridge on Sunday. It wasn't easy, but Chelsea were resilient as they came away with a 2-0 win over the Gunners. This kept the Blues at the top with a 4-point cushion over a lighter shade of blue from Manchester as City moved into second after a hard-earned win at home over Newcastle. United slumped to third after their disappointing draw with Sunderland. Arsenal slipped to fourth, Spurs move up to fifth thanks to Rafael van der Vaart's double strike over Aston Villa. Blackpool's inspired win at Anfield puts them back in the top 10 as echoes of "it's not a good time to be a Liverpool fan" is being mentioned of late. And this brings us to the bottom half. And before we address the plight of the Reds, Wigan's win over Wolves moves them away from the relegation battle. And so did Everton after their first win of the season, away at Birmingham. And who would have thought of uttering the phrase, Liverpool in a relegation battle? But that's what the league table says. And after the international break this week, Liverpool will travel across the road to meet neighbours Everton on Sunday the 17th. I say, it's not a good time to be a football fan from Merseyside. Moving over to the Italian Serie A, where Lazio moved to the top after claiming a win over Brescia, while Inter only managed to draw with Juventus at the weekend. Now both these teams have yet to lose at home. Napoli's win over Roma puts them in third, as teams from 2nd to 12th are all separated by only 3 points. To the lesser half, where it is also very tight at the bottom. A win or a loss can displace teams all the way till 19th, and that's where Roma lie after that loss to Napoli. Udinese are still rooted at the bottom, even though they claimed their first win of the season against Cesena. Now next we look at the German Bundesliga as Mainz are proving to be the real deal. They clinched their 7th straight win, a 4-2 victory over Hoffenheim at the weekend, and maintained their 100% record. Borussia Dortmund cemented their second spot as they defeated reigning champions Bayern Munich 2-0. As the top two have a healthy lead, it is still very close from 3rd to 9th. So, where is Bayern Munich? And that's where they are, languishing in 12th. Cologne, Schalke and Stuttgart, who all suffered losses at the weekend, will keep each other company in the relegation zone for the time being. And our final European stop is the Spanish Primera Liga, where Valencia are coping well after the departure of David Villa to Barcelona. In fact, they are doing very well without him. But it's very close at the top. Real Madrid got rid of their shyness in front of goal, and this came at the expense of Deportivo La Coruña, trouncing them 6-1. Barca were held at Mallorca at the Nou Camp, while Sevilla, Getafe and one-time league leaders Atletico Madrid are still there and thereabouts. to the bottom half where newly promoted Hercules, who have been labelled as giant killers, were humbled by Getafe at the weekend. Real Sociedad's 1-0 win over Espanyol, thanks to a Diego Forlan own goal, lifts them to 13th, while Deportivo's thrashing leaves them scraping at the bottom of the barrel. Back to home soil, the second edition of the Malaysian Open Tennis Championships. With top seeds Robin Soderling, Thomas Berdych, David Ferrer and defending champion Nikolai Davydenko all crashing out, it was Mikhail Yuzny who prevailed and won his 7th career title, defeating Andrei Golubev in 6-7, 7-6 and 6-2. Yuzny is chasing for a berth in the ATP World Tour Finals in November. So far, out of the 8 that will feature in the season finale in London, only Rafael Nadal and Roger Federer have qualified. And finally, motorsport will have a busy weekend with Formula 1 and the Malaysian Moto GP. It's back-to-back races for the Moto GP boys after Sunday's Japanese Grand Prix, which delayed Fiat Yamaha's Jorge Lorenzo's coronation as the new world champion. This after he finished in 4th, as Ducati's Casey Stoner picked up the win. And it's also nice to see Valentino Rossi back on the podium, though not to Lorenzo's liking. Title contender Dani Pedrosa, who was the only rider with the potential to pip Lorenzo to the title, crashed in practice and broke his collarbone, thus prematurely ending his season. And as two-wheel racing moves from Japan to Malaysia, open-wheel racing heads to the land of the rising sun with the Japanese Formula 1 Grand Prix. And it's still anybody's title. But Fernando Alonso's inspired form of late could propel him to the championship. And this is how the standings look ahead of the Japanese Grand Prix. Red Bull's Mark Webber has a slender 11-point lead over the two-time world champ, and with 25 points for a win, this weekend could shuffle the standings once again. Lewis Hamilton, Webber's teammate Sebastian Vettel and Jenson Button are still in with a shout. And with that motorsport update, it's time for me to zoom out of here. Do log on to our site as we bring you more daily highlights and interesting video clips. Until our next update, you stay safe.